One of the darkest days in our district's history and the worst day of my life.
A community coming together overnight after a day of tragedy. Last night, candles were placed on 212 in honor of the 6 who lost their lives in a deadly bus crash in Licking County.
And this morning, the I-70 freeway has reopened, but this section of I-70 in Licking County is where the investigation will refocus today.
Next thing I knew, it was like just this random impact and then I was like crushed underneath some seats and stuck from like my waist down.
And then in a 10 TV exclusive, we talk with a student who was inside the bus when it crashed in the moment she was able to get off of it safely with her brother. We are certainly glad you're joining us now at 6 a.m. for Wake Up C-Bus. I'm Tracy Townsend.
I'm Clay Gordon.
And I'm Angela Ann. This morning, we know 3 of those 6 people killed were students. And Governor Mike DeWine has now ordered flags lowered at sunrise today to honor their lives. This is video from overnight of the Ohio State House, one of the public buildings that will have those flags lowered, but also public buildings throughout Tuscarawas and Stark counties, along with the Vern Rife Center and Rhodes Tower in downtown Columbus. Flags will stay lowered until sunset Saturday.
We start this hour with team coverage of the bus crash. Amy Steigerwald is outside the school in Tuscarawas Valley where classes will be in session today, but counselors will also be on hand. And
Gabriela Garcia is standing by with some information from ODOT, and they'll talk about how they work to get that freeway back open.
We do want to begin our coverage now with 10 TV's Kevin Landers. And Kevin, we know federal investigators will be back on that scene in just a few hours, but really recreating what happened is like taking a step back in time.
Yeah, it's going to be difficult for them to try to put together what happened. We know that 9 investigators from the NTSB will be here on scene. Behind me is Interstate 70 where that crash happened, and we expect to hear an update from the NTSB this afternoon around 4 o'clock. Now, similar to a plane crash, the NTSB will begin combing through the wreckage to try to look for clues as to how this charter bus, the passenger vehicles, and the semi all crashed into each other. What's unclear is if there was a black box on the charter bus, something the NTSB called on manufacturers to install back in 2015 after investigators could not find the cause of a crash in 2014 in California that killed 10 people. Now, last night, the NTSB provided some clues as to what happened prior to the crash.
They had approached a traffic queue that resulted from an earlier crash on I-70, and a tractor trailer approached behind the SUV. We have heard conflicting information about the sequence of events, so that's something we'll have to determine tomorrow.
Now, event data recorders are standard on some passenger cars like in Honda, Nissans, and Toyotas, so they'll see if there are any black boxes on those cars that were involved in this crash. Again, the NTSB is expected to update us later this afternoon, and 10 TV will cover that live when it happens. Reporting live in Licking County, Kevin Landers, 10 TV News.
Kevin, thank you. And as we know, that school bus left from Mineral City for a conference at the Columbus Convention Center. The crash happened just 25 miles away from its destination. The Ohio School Boards Association canceled that conference once it learned of that crash.
As you can imagine, this crash has left several communities in grief this morning. Families are trying to make sense of how this could have happened.
Our team coverage continues now with 10 TV's Amy Steigerwald. Good morning, Amy.
Good morning. Yeah, just to put things into perspective for you, there were 54 students on that charter bus that crashed. In total here at Tuscarawas Valley High School, there's roughly about 400 students that attend that high school. So that really puts into perspective just how many students were involved in this incident and how shaken up this community is this morning. As students here at Tuscarawas Valley High School, they are set to resume classes today. Administrators know, though, that all students will not feel up to being in class and are encouraging anyone who needs to stay home to do so. Additionally, we're told there will be counselors at the school today in case anyone needs to talk to someone. Now, last night, the Tuscarawas Valley High School Stadium was packed with students, staff, and community members, many of whom knew those who lost their lives in this crash.
Being in class with some of these kids, it's crazy what they went through, and especially for the ones that passed. I mean, I feel sorry for their families. I don't think I'm in shock too. It hasn't really hit me with my teacher at Buckeye being in that accident and passing.
And the youngest student that died in this crash was just 15 years old this morning. There are also still students recovering in the hospital. Reporting live outside Tuscarawas Valley High School, Amy Steigerwald for 10 TV News.
All right, Amy, thank you. We'll take a look at your screen right now. These are the images of the 6 people who lost their lives in that tragic bus crash. We know this morning 3 of them were students, the youngest being 15 years old. 2 were parent chaperones, and 1 was a teacher. School districts from around the state reacting to this news on social media this morning. You can just see all the thoughts and prayers going to this community and the outpouring of support from across the state. Governor Mike DeWine and U.S. Secretary of Transportation Pete Buttigieg also responding overnight.
10 TV talked with one student who described just how harrowing all of this was.
Next thing I knew, it was like just this random impact and then I was like crushed underneath some seats and stuck from like my waist down. I just like for a second kind of just like looked at him and I'm like, this might be the last time I ever get to see you.
High school sophomore Tori Wilson says she was sitting in the second to last row. Then she saw her junior high band teacher jump into action.
He kept getting on and off and just dragging kids off the bus. He saved a lot of kids today. He did.
And again, we know counselors will be at the school today to help everyone cope with what they experience.